Welcome to BizRadio Canada, an affiliate of BizTV Canada. BizRadio Canada is a celebration of entrepreneurship and those who contribute to it every day. BizRadio Canada and BizTV Canada provide informative, educational, and entertaining interviews with authors, experts, and entrepreneurs who share their insights and advice on a variety of business topics. Are you ready? Let's get the conversation started with the outspoken guru, mentor, and advocate of entrepreneurs in Canada, your host, David Wojcik.
Welcome to BizRadio Canada on Connect Me Radio. Thanks for tuning in and listening. I'm David Wojcik, your host for the next hour. For those of you who would like to know more about our show and our upcoming topics and guests, you can visit us at BizRadioCanada.com. And if you'd like to see hundreds of business videos with advice and great interviews, you can visit our affiliate, BizTV Canada, at BizTVCanada.com. Of course, we're always happy to have you follow us on Twitter using the handle at BizTVCanada. What's hot and what's not in the career paths for the upcoming year? If you are looking for employees, this may help you understand why you can't seem to find the good peeps, or it may help you understand why there seems to be a flood of outstanding candidates available. To help us with the discussion is Dr. Tracey Wilen. Dr. Wilen is a prominent thought leader on the impact of technology on society, work, and careers. She's been a scholar at Stanford University and has held leadership positions at Apple, HP, Cisco, and the Apollo Group. Dr. Wilen has authored 11 books. Her newest book is Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends. She joins us from California, and thanks to my guest, Dr. Wilen, for being with us today. Tracey, how are you doing?
I'm good, and thank you for having me, David.
Always a pleasure. We had you on once before, had a great discussion. This discussion is about the career trends that we can expect in the upcoming year of 2015. So give us an overarching view of what's going on in that career area, some of the things that are hot and some of the things that are not.
Sure, David. And the way that I approached it for 2015 is I looked at what are some of the key trends happening in the workforce that people may not be tapped into, but I want them to know about for future jobs or careers. What are some societal trends that are happening that might be creating new jobs and career paths that people hadn't thought of? And what are some key sector trends that might be fruitful for employment for the longer haul that people may have not intuitively thought of before? So I took a different approach this year than the standard job reports. And
I know that, and I forget how long ago it was, and what I read, there are children that are going into college and into universities these days. Some of the careers that they may end up involved with at the end of their education, haven't even been thought of when they go into post-secondary education or even secondary education. How relevant is that today in how you develop your research?
That's actually very relevant because I'll tell you from my own example of my generation, we were really born into a classical world. Mm-hmm. A high school degree or a liberal arts college degree was pretty much enough for anyone to get a job. And if you wore a blue suit, you pretty much fit into any corporation. And we know that today that the jobs are much more specialized, much more technical. I mean, we have shifted into a technology-based world, and that shift will continue to happen for our younger generation. So what they're looking at today as projected jobs will probably shift multiple times by the time they're out and looking for work.
So there is a phenomena that's going on within the workplace, and it befuddles some of the older employers. Some of them that are from the boomers, some of them that are from the traditionalist era. They can't figure out why the Gen Xers and the Gen Nexters are so restless. Is it because the world changes so fast for them? They've seen the world changing so fast. They've seen careers change so fast that makes them that way, that they're just, they say, well, there's no point in me figuring that I'm going to stay in this career for the next 20 years or 25 years like you did, Grandpa, because this job that I have may not exist in 5 years.
Well, that's true. I mean, I think anyone moving into the workforce, whether it's years ago or today, is looking for experience. They're looking for income. particularly if they have education debts or other responsibilities, and they're looking for ways that they can build up their skills. In the past, if you think about it, the company sort of monitored that for people. You just stay here, and we'll take care of you and do all, and wait your turn, because we will promote you. So what I'm seeing today is really what's happening is our millennials and Gen Xers are saying, I need to get the experience, and waiting my turn may not happen.
Right.
And I want to be able to move and get the opportunities and skill-building exercises so that I can be relevant. I think companies are wisening up and saying, maybe we should start leadership at a younger age, and some of those activities, such as high-visibility projects and lateral moves.
So does it still happen where millennials will go into a workplace and the workplace is saying, don't worry, hang on, you'll get your turn, and that they will stay there? Or is this a cross-generational type of issue where they're saying, if I'm not learning from you and you're not giving me the right opportunities, I'm out of here?
But there's a couple of that. That's a big question. So there's a couple of trends that are happening. It was last year that the average stay of a millennial was 2 years and 2 months, and then for an older adult it would be 4 years 4 months. And a lot of that transition could have been created by transition or by personal moves. Mm-hmm. But firms are looking at saying, okay, the new way of working is really a two-way transaction. We're not your family anymore, and we can't take responsibility because of the cost factors, really, to manage your career for you. In exchange, though, you're looking for income, benefits, experience, and skill building. So together, we need to figure this out. Your part is to raise your hand and say, here's where I'd like to be at the company. Help me get there, but I'm going to manage my career. And I think that shift has happened for some people in some firms, and hasn't happened for other people in other firms.
And who's struggling with it? Is it the boomers and the traditionalists that are in those senior management positions? Are they struggling with these impudent young people that are asking questions and making demands? And by the way, we have to remind everybody that the boomers and traditionalists are responsible for these people that are asking questions and making demands.
Well, I didn't study, how do the boomers feel. I can just give you anecdotally that the boomer generation didn't experience this dynamic environment. They had a more classical environment, a more predictable environment. So some of this shifting and movement and urgency or overconfidence, as some describe it, of younger generations is foreign to them, and it's unusual. At the same time, when I talk to more seasoned people, I would say more classical people who are seeking employment, they're having a tough time adjusting to not only these shifts, but also the technology that has entered into the workforce that maybe wasn't there in the past.
And I would imagine that some of the boomers that may have been displaced and now trying to get back into the workforce, when they are faced with this phenomena of a company that's saying, I'm not taking care of you forever. I'll give you opportunities. I'll give you training. I'll give you all the things that you need, but it's really up to you to make it happen. That must be a tremendously that's a paradigm shift for them.
Yes, it is, and it's not just our boomers, but it's also our Gen X generation, because they were trained and groomed to do what the boomers do, and you will net the rewards. And Gen X is looking at it going, those boomers, some are retiring, but not everybody's retiring. How long do I have to really wait for this? Here's the point. The corporation is a stop. It's not a destination anymore. And if you can think that through, is you'll be working probably for 50 or 70 years. A lot of people are living much longer and want to or need to be working much longer. So the corporation as we know it might be a 20-year stop, but it probably won't be your only stop. If you're going to work 50 or 70 years, might be a midpoint. It might be the place where you get those skills and experience so that your next stop could be self-employment or consulting or some sort of project work or volunteer work or non-for-profit work. So I think if you can change the mindset that this is my destination to, oh, this is a stop, and I better grab what I can from the stop and then figure out my own next steps.
Mm-hmm. And there has been some suggestion that down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, that we will be working more project-based and not for one particular company, so that somebody that has a skill set may work for 2, 3, 4 companies at the same time on different projects and collaborate with people from around the world. Do you see this type of trend happening in your own research?
Yes, and in fact, much of the statistics out there are supporting this in real time. There are projections by 2020, almost 40% of the workforce will be in some sort of temporary work, contractor work, project work, or freelance work, almost assembling your own personal portfolio career. Portfolio meaning that you have a portfolio of projects. Now, they may be thematic around, marketing projects or engineering projects. Mm-hmm. It may be skill-based. I am an accountant, and I have a number of clients who utilize my services for project work, and it could be more consulting. I am an HR specialist, and I have a number of projects where I consult for different companies, and it's a very viable career. It's not a default career. People need to look at it as this is a viable way to have a fruitful career in the future.
My guest is Dr. Tracey Wilen. She is the author of 11 books on careers, and we are talking about 2015 career predictions. After the break, we're going to talk about sector trends and what's hot and what's not in those areas. We're going to take a short break to have some words from our sponsors. We'll be back with more BizRadio Canada right here on Connect Me Radio. Welcome back to BizRadio Canada on Connect Me Radio. I'm your host, David Wojcik. My guest is Dr. Tracey Wilen. Dr. Wilen is the author of 11 books, and our topic today is 2015 career predictions in a digital world. On the sector trends, Tracey, what do you see happening? I see from one of the discussion points that you see security as a maybe a safe bet for a career trend. Why security?
I do, David, and I say that with sadness. I say sadly, I think security will be and is a safe bet for people looking for jobs and careers today and in the future. And security is, I divide into 3 areas. Cybersecurity, which is all about data and networking, hackers. Number 2 is physical security and personal protection. And then number 3, terrorism. And if you just look at cybersecurity, it's in the news every single day.
Yes.
Some company, some individual is, getting exploited by hackers. And those jobs are growing 12 times faster than the overall job market. So if you needed to start focusing on an area to look at, and you have the wherewithal, right, to understand hacking and botnets and forensics of data and, networks, this could be an area.
And I would imagine that in that particular area, the security area, there's all kinds of offshoot careers that stem from security as well. Now, do you see this? Is this a global trend? Is this a North American trend?
Oh, it's a global trend. I mean, if you look at it, hacking used to be done because for people recognizing you that you were good at hacking. Today, people are doing it for money. They're looking for people's credit cards. They're looking for people's bank accounts. And now, even on a more global level, they're doing it at a national level. North Korea, or ISIS is making an attack, a hacking attack, to make broader, statements. So I think hacking has gone to a next level that is pretty concerning because it isn't just about making a name for yourself. It's a serious issue on the individual level, on the retail level, on banks, and on a national level.
It's not just about a bunch of computer geeks that want to get together and just do it because they can. There are some real serious issues behind this. Healthcare has been trending for some time now. In your research, you see it as a real hot one now for 2015, and I imagine going forward.
I do. You know, David, I was looking at the baby boomers, and as I look at them in their past, you know, we have active boomers and we have inactive boomers. The active boomers are, you know, looking at preventative health. You know, can I get a personal trainer? Should I join a health club? Should I get an occupational or physical therapist to help me stay out of hospitals, stay out of the medical system and avoid costs? And how can I, you know, take care of myself? And I think some of these boomers will even drive wearable technology. We all hear about the iWatch and the Fitbit. You know, can I start to monitor? On the inactive side, I see adults saying, I don't want to go to the old age home anymore. Mm-hmm. I actually want to have in-home services. That's much more comfortable for me. And so I need now nurses, aides, a variety of services to come to the home that we maybe didn't, you know, need before. And in fact, I was just talking to a physician who was telling me he now does in-home doctor's calls again.
What? A physician that makes house calls?
That's right, because the demand is so high. He does it in the neighborhood where he lives. And he said the demand is so high, he's returning to making in-home house calls. So I think, you know, if people are looking for healthcare, I just think healthcare is a healthy option no matter what, because it has a lot of different job areas. You could be in marketing, IT, clinical side, you know, aides, and you can get in and start with whether a certification and then move into various degrees if you choose different areas. So to me, it's a building block type of career with a lot of future opportunities just created by the baby boomers who are living longer and wanting more services.
And we know that the boomers are taking up one part of that healthcare opportunity, but they're also paying for the other part of that healthcare opportunity. I was just giving a talk at one of the local colleges this morning, and we talked about who the demographic was for these retirement communities, and it's actually the kids of the seniors that are the demographic, because they're paying for people to take care of mom and dad, either for selfish reasons or for career reasons. But that whole area just seems to be exploding. Another part of your research shows the STEMs, science, technology, engineering, and math. Of course, we know that that seems to always been a hot area, no matter what time zone we're in or generation we're in. Why for 2015 and going forward? Why is it so important now?
Well, I just look at some of the technologies that have, you know, exploded with jobs, you know, whether it's big data. They have created over 4 million jobs in 2015. Cloud computing is projected to create 14 million jobs by 2015. Robotics will continue to be a driver. Just think about drones. And then we have the biological, you know, bioscience, bioresearch. All of these areas are predicting not only high growth, but they also happen to be the ones in shortages and also the ones that are paying nice salaries. So if you have the interest and wherewithal, I would encourage people to start thinking about science, technology, engineering, and math, whether for their kids or is there some way that they can get involved in this while still working or even, you know, in the future.
Mm-hmm. As far as the cost of obtaining those degrees and that type of education, where do you see that heading? Is it going up, down? Is it sideways? Is it getting easier for kids to get an education?
Well, you know, I have met a lot of people who are actually doing the computer coding programming boot camps for free. For kids, Google, Microsoft, Apple, I believe all have coding initiatives, either for children or women, to learn coding. There's such a shortage of coders. You can go to the Code Academy. There's a number of, you know, places where you can learn about these technologies. And then, of course, you have the free online courses as well. Mm-hmm. I think the key is understanding, is this something that you can do? You know, coding requires a certain kind of mindset, certain kind of skills, but it's worth trying it because, you know, a lot of people are saying, I am a good coder, and I can stick with this and perhaps, reinvent myself for the future.
And it's one of those things you can certainly do from home. My guest is Dr. Tracey Wilen. We're discussing 2015 career predictions in a digital world. Dr. Wilen is the author of 11 books, including her newest, Employed for Life in the 21st Century Career Trends. We will be back with my guest and more Biz TV Canada on Connect Me Radio right after this short break. Welcome back to BizRadio Canada on Connect Me Radio. I'm your host, David Wojcik. My guest today is Dr. Tracey Wilen. Dr. Wilen is an expert on careers. She's written 11 books, and her newest is Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends. And we're talking about the career trends in 2015. Tracey, we've been talking about the things that we see increasing and the hot ones for 2015. What about on the other side of things? What do you see as careers that seem to be waning or disappearing, in your opinion?
Sure, David. I think anyone should worry about jobs that could be fully automated through software or hardware, and in a lot of cases, hardware is automated by software. So software is the big, elephant in the room for everyone. If your job can be fully automated, then it's at risk. Just take, for example, most people don't call a travel agent anymore. It's been fully automated by online systems and call centers. Most people don't have to go in and see a bank teller anymore because they can do online banking, or they can get routed through intelligent software call systems. So I think if in many cases, the accountant's job of the past, which was just data crunching, has been replaced by analytics and, databases that can do that. And so the accountant has, had to, really improve their levels and skills. So I think you have to look at that. Can your job be replaced by a robot or drone or software? Even drivers. Look at autopilot. Look at autonomous cars, which are, software-driven cars, basically coming into the future. Where are you in that scheme of things, and how can you make sure that your skills are above?
Hopefully you and I are safe, authors and radio show hosts. Hopefully we're safe. We can't be replaced by robots. We've talked about the workforce trends. We've talked about the sector trends. An important part, of course, is the societal trends. You believe that food is hot, and that the food industry and jobs related to that are on the move.
I do. Let's face it, we're human. We have to eat, so food is never going to go away. And it just keeps inventing and reinventing itself. I mean, people just love food, and it's evidenced by all of these shows that you see on TV. In fact, I have a colleague who says every time she watches a cooking show, she spends at least $100 going out buying pots, pans, and spices.
Really?
So she can go try new things. That creates jobs. The growth of organic food, gluten-free food, vegetarian. I mean, who knew that all these categories existed? And it's creating jobs, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a food delivery or food service, whether it's a cooking show with a lot of adjacent products that are getting sold. And it's pretty exciting because people really actually have a lot of fun with food and like it.
And what are some of the other societal trends that you see? We know that they are all important to what happens in our workforces and in our careers. What else do you see happening?
Well, we've become an on-demand society. People are saying they're not sleeping enough, they're not seeing their kids enough, they're not taking their vacation times, and services and companies and people are responding by creating on-demand services. We can get music on demand, we can get our hair done on demand, we can get shipping and shopping on demand. I mean, let's just face it, Amazon, you can get products and services shipped to you in a day or less in some areas, and this creates jobs, transportation, logistics, call centers, online chat rooms, marketing, customer service. So I think that on-demand didn't exist in the past, is facilitated by technology, but really a societal type of trend that's creating a lot of new jobs that didn't exist before.
Excellent. Dr. Wilen, thank you so much for being with us. My guest has been Dr. Tracey Wilen. She is the author of 11 books in the area of career trends. Her newest book is Employed for Life, 21st Career Trends. Tracey, thanks so much for being with us today.
That's all the time we have for today. If you would like to comment about the show or suggest a topic for discussion, send an email to David at host@bizradiocanada.com. We always enjoy hearing from our listeners. And if you joined in late and want to hear this or any other of our shows in complete form, go to www.bizradiocanada.com. We invite you to join in next week for another informative, educational, and entertaining conversation with Canada's thought leaders in business, right here on Biz Radio Canada.